ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Holste podcast as we are back in time in the year 2018 in April 6th. And on this video, I was talking about something that was really needed to be talked about and hear myself say things to help myself get through more of a tough situation within my life. I just got back the day prior from a very difficult court situation with my ex, and it was just a time of just figuring out what the next steps had to be. And the nice thing about doing these podcasts is I was talking my way through my difficult situations, but also it's a reminder of what I need to do to stay on the right track when I re-listen to these things. And that's why I thought these podcasts were important, because it gave the opportunity to not only help myself, but I felt like there was other people who could use the same advice, because there's a lot of people who struggle. There's a lot of people who are afraid to seek help by talking to a professional because they fear that maybe they're going to get bashed or their feelings are going to get hurt or they won't be understood. But this gives an opportunity for people to hear some advice from what I went through, and also it encourages people to trust people, to go seek help, and to talk to someone that can listen to them and support them in the way that they need to. So I hope you enjoy this podcast that was from April 6th of 2018.
But today I want to talk about dealing with defeat. And I already talked about this on a prior podcast, but it's always good to retouch base on things, because maybe I'll touch on something that I didn't hit before on the last one. But when you're dealing with defeat and you're dealing with the unexpected that you didn't think was going to be possible or wasn't going to happen, but it did, it's difficult. It's difficult to move on. It's difficult to accept what has happened, because you're in shock. You're in pain. You need time to adapt to what changes need to go through from that point on. And in life, when you're in those situations where you're dealing with the pain, you have to stay positive, and you have to just, no matter how hard it is to accept what happened, no matter how painful it is, no matter how many tears you shed, you know, it's like I said, the things happen for a reason. And even though they may be terrible, and even though there may be reasons why you don't understand, it's just how it is. And it doesn't mean that it's always going to be this way. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like this forever, because new things happen, different things come into play in your life. And that's pretty much all I got to say about this, because, you know, it's fairly simple. When things happen in your life that you don't expect, when things happen that are painful in your life, you just come up with a plan. Come up with a way to adapt to it, to move forward, to be successful. Because there's no point in being down or upset, being angry towards another person for the things that may have been done, because that's pointless. Do what you can to be successful and to succeed within that pain, because this kind of goes along with that message that I shared within that last podcast about the unexpected. But dealing with the pain, let's touch on that. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be hurting, because you are going to hurt. And it doesn't have to be with a bad situation of a breakup or something that happens within your job or a friendship. It could be something as far as a health issue. It could be something that you're dealing with on a daily basis because you're dealing with the doctors and you don't know whether that good news or bad news is coming. It could be the fact that it could be with that family member who's dealing with a sickness or whatever the case may be. But it all ties in. But that's pretty much all I can tell you is you need to have a good mindset. You can choose to go out and get drunk every day, do drugs. You can do all these things that will make the situation worse. Or you can accept what has happened, do what you can to better it in your life. Forget about what other people say. Forget about what other people think. What's important is about what you know about your life. Don't give up. Keep fighting.
Some really good advice right at the end there. And, giving up is only letting the fears and the anxiety control your life. The more you take on the tasks and the things that maybe look like major hurdles in your life, the better you're going to find things can be. It's not always fun having situations that feel like they're attacking you. You feel like you're on your knees, begging for mercy. But, it's all how you handle and treat things. So I really hope that this podcast today has kind of helped you and got you to think about things from a different outlook. And, feel free to add on to what I was talking about and share your opinions about this topic, because I know I touched base on a couple different things there, but I just feel like this one was an absolute gem of a podcast, because there was just so much emotion that went through this. Obviously I was in a very emotional state because of the day prior, where I had to deal with a situation back in New Hampshire when I was living in Vermont, and it wasn't an easy thing that happened. And I was just trying to make sense of things, and sometimes when you're in these pits that you feel like you can't get out of, you get these revelations or whatever you want to call it in your mind, and you're like, oh, that makes complete sense. And a lot of these podcasts that were done back in 2018 were just that. They were the, oh my gosh, I get it moments. And so I wanted to share them. And that's how this podcast, got started, was the concept of talking through the situations that I went through, maybe in that period of time or throughout my life. And I hope that you got something out of this. So remember to think and be positive today. Do what you can, not what you can't. And I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? If you see someone who served our country, whether it be military, police, fire, or even medical, please give them a fist bump or elbow. Tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much they might appreciate that one random act of kindness. So do that today. And as always, thank you for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell for all the greatest and newest content that's being posted here on the Kent Holste podcast. So be safe, and God bless.